pupils of EGA. Before I spend some time just talking to you, let me just start by saying to the principal, Jodie, how wonderful it is to be here and to pay tribute to the absolutely marvellous work that the principal, the staff, the Board of Governors, that you are involved in, day out. And as a resident of Islington, let me say how proud I am that not only do I live in Islington, but I have the pleasure to represent Islington at City Hall. So I am your assembly member. And not only am I there to represent the school and to speak out and to ask questions on your behalf, I'm also there as your champion, as someone who's able to say EGA is one of the best schools in London. I will never forget sitting where you're sitting and having the privilege of people coming in and hearing their stories and then taking something from their stories. And I just want you to know from my story is very similar to your stories. My story is that I came with my parents and I came and started infant school in a city in this country, Birmingham. That's the accent you can hear. And I know you're sitting there thinking, doesn't she talk funny? But the accent is from Birmingham. And I came as a 5-year-old, and I came from a very small Caribbean island, and that island is Montserrat. Let's hear it. Montserrat. And although this is a very, very small island, it's wonderful that wherever I am, there's always another Montserratan in the audience. And why that is because our island is volcanic, and so every 10, 15 years it blows up, it erupts, and so the people leave, and then what we've done over the years is that we then come mainly to London, to North London, where there's been a resident population for many, many years. And so I, along with others, took that journey. And I will never forget the warmth and the reception that I experienced and that my family experienced and my community experienced, and how we were able to create a space and how we were able to then achieve our goals. And one of the most important issues and one of the most important things that you could do in my community, as I know in your community, is to study, is to get your book and read it, because it was through education that we knew that we could then achieve our goals. So, like you, I would be encouraged to get the book, I would be encouraged to study, I would be asked constantly, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you leave school? And I was fortunate that I had women in my family who they told me about what they were doing, and many of them were doing nursing. And so I thought, well, nursing sounds good. And it was something that I then aspired to. And on leaving school, I then took up nursing. And it was tough, and all the rest of it. But one of the things I did get from nursing was that sense of fulfillment, of that sense that I was doing something that was positive and that was helping other people. I also then got involved in campaigning, and I've just mentioned one campaign to you that I got involved in, and that was when I was a student nurse. I was on duty, I'll never forget this, and I was preparing someone for theatre, and I went and I got this lady's permission on a consent form, and then I was shouted at and told to come to the matron's office. And when I got there, I was really taken to task and asked, how dare I get this woman's permission on her consent form? And I thought this was really weird. And I stood up and thought, well, she is having this operation. And then I was told she may be having the operation, but what we need is her husband's permission. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Now, that was about 35 years ago. You know, now, as your principal has said, haven't we moved on? Now, that will never happen to you. You will never go into a hospital and you will never be told, we need your husband's permission for an operation, because we have moved on. So now we actually recognise the rights of women, that it's our bodies. There was a lovely phrase that was used in the 70s, our lives, our politics, our future. And so we are in charge now of our lives. That's just one example of something that I met that I then had to challenge. And so I got involved in a campaign then that was about women's rights to sign their own consent form. It was that I think led me on to the other issues about violence against women, because in a sense I saw that as not violence against women, but the repression against women, and that really opened my eyes. And then since then, I've campaigned locally and globally. I recently had the pleasure of meeting with the world's women in Beijing, and that was a wonderful occasion, because not only were we there gathered as women from the world, but what happened for the first time ever, the Chinese Communist Party recognized the rights of women to actually gather and host a conference in their own rights. And so as we move on, as Joe has said, every day brings new openings. Every day brings an awareness. Every day we as women, we as young women like yourselves, we are breaking down those barriers that were put up against us. I want to finish by just saying to you, you are the future. Each and every one of you will find something that will block your road. And when that happens, I want you to know that there will be others who have taken that road in front of you, and that you also have a responsibility to take on that challenge, to move on, so that others can follow you. We are part of that continuum. And I just want to finish by saying, is there everybody in this room who's got a goal and an ambition? Can I hear from you? Everybody got a goal and ambition? And are you going to achieve that goal and ambition? Pupils of EGA, have a wonderful International Women's Day.